Maharaj, we're just starting the YouTube and Facebook. It will take a minute for all of them to be on.
Yeah.
HTS. Yeah, Santosh is not connected. YouTube is not connected. I got a notification from YouTube. That program is I'm signed into HTS.
Should I go ahead? Okay. Namaskar to all of you, and I welcome you all to this 32nd anniversary of the Hindu Temple of San Antonio. And I am very glad to say that we have, one of the very well-known Swamijis today. We have his august presence on line today. He's going to speak directly and in real time from his Vedanta mission in Boston. Swami Tyagadananji Maharaj is a monk of Ramakrishna order since 1976. He is the head of the Vedanta Society in Boston currently and is the Hindu chaplain for Harvard and MIT. He has written and translated a number of books. As on today, he has completed about 12 books which are in circulation, including the monasticism, ideal and traditions, which was published first in 1991. The essence of Bhagavad Gita, which is published in 2000. Then interpreting Ramakrishna, 2011. Walking the Walk, a manual of Karma Yoga. And his latest book, Knowing the Knower, a manual of Jnana Yoga, 2017. He has presented papers at academic conferences, and he gives lectures and classes at the Vedanta Society as well as at MIT, Harvard, and on invitation to other colleges and religious groups in North America. Swamiji, welcome you. And on behalf of the Board of the Trustees of the Hindu Temple of San Antonio and Executive Committee and the larger devotee population of San Antonio and its adjoining cities. So there are a lot of people, a lot of devotees who have actually linked themselves in from different places to listen to you. Swamiji, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, I'm really, really expressing my gratitude to you on behalf of the devotee community and also on behalf of the Hindu Temple of San Antonio. I'm very glad that you agreed to give two discourses. Today's discourse is going to be Bringing God Home. And tomorrow at 10:15 a.m., that is Central Standard Time, San Antonio time, we are going to have another discourse by Swamiji, which the title of which is going to be Worship as Seva. So Swamiji, I hand over the baton to you. Please go ahead, and thank you very much again. So we are going to mute everybody except Swamiji, and then at the end of his lecture, we are going to open it to everybody. Anybody who wants to ask question can go ahead and ask the questions to Swamiji, and then Swamiji will be replying. But we are limiting the question, time to maybe about 10 to 15 minutes because Swamiji has to go. It will be very late there. Thank you very much, Swamiji. Please go ahead. Pranam Maharaj.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Asatoma Satkamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Satyorma Amritam Gamaya, Aviravirmayeti, Rudrayatte Dakshinam Mukham, Tenamam Pahi Nityam. May the divine lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the divine consciousness fill our hearts and protect us. Peace, peace, peace be unto you. So I'm very happy to be with you all today. It was many years ago, I had visited San Antonio to attend the conference of the American Academy of Religion. And I have a vague memory of visiting the temple. And it's now many years later that I get the chance to visit you all virtually. And I'm very happy that I can be a part of your annual celebrations at the temple, at the mandir. So the theme of today's talk is bringing God home. When we visit the temple, one of the questions that can be asked is, why do we go to a temple? And clearly, many of us do, many of us who are religious, who believe in God, who have faith in God, who want to pray, we go to the temple because, first of all, it feels it is a sacred space. It's a place where it is easier to pray, easier to remember, easier to offer worship. And therefore, we all go to temple. But a deeper question that we can ask is, what is the ultimate purpose of going to a temple? Do I need to go to a temple in order to meet God? Because our shastras, our scriptures also say that God is everywhere. If God is everywhere, why is it that I'm able to feel the presence of God more inside a temple and not so much if you go to a market or a mall, or maybe even not so much inside our own homes? And one of the reasons why we feel that divine presence more palpably inside the temple, because that's the place where, depending on how old the temple is, people, devotees, believers, religious-minded people, spiritual seekers have been coming there and praying. So the earnestness, the devotion, the love that these people have for God, all that leaves and elevates the atmosphere of that place. So today I want to first begin by telling you the story of one temple, and that is the temple in Vrindavan in India. I imagine many of you who are from India may have visited that temple. It's one of the famous temples there. The name of the temple is Banke Bihari. So there are, as you probably can imagine, there are hundreds of Krishna temples, just like there are hundreds of Shiva temples in Banaras, in Kashi. There are hundreds and thousands of Rama temple in Ayodhya. So similarly, in Vrindavan and Mathura area, literally thousands of temples dedicated to Krishna. Now, some of them are very old, some of them are very big. And among these old and large temples and famous temples is this temple of Krishna, who is known as Banke Bihari. So Banke Bihari, because we know the famous, well-known picture or the image of Krishna is bent in three places playing that flute. It's a beautiful, adorable image. So this temple, Banke Bihari temple, and those of you who have visited it may have seen this, is a little bit unusual, because in many other temples, when we go, There is the murtis, there is the vigraha, there is the images on the altar, and we go and we offer our prayers and offer puja. And then there are the times when the temples opens and there are times when the doors close. But in this Banke Bihari temple in Vrindavan, there is a door, of course, but at the sanctum, the Garbha Mandira, there is also a curtain. And that curtain, the vigraha, the murtis are covered by the curtain. So you don't always get to see Banke Bihari Krishna. You get to see just the curtain. And then they'll open the curtain. The priest will open the curtain. And this is the time then people will do namaskaram and they will say Jai Banke Bihari ki Jai. And then within 30 seconds or a minute, the curtain will close again. And then there is a gap. And this after another minute, again the curtain will open. So whole day, as long as the temple is open, there is one priest always opening the curtain and closing the curtain. Now, this is very unusual. We don't get to see this kind of a thing in every temple. So how did this thing begin? Was this tradition present right from the beginning, or did it start at some point? And the story is told that when the temple was built, it was like any other temple. It was just like a regular temple. And very crowded. There was a lot of people selling garlands outside and so on, as they do in many of these ancient temples in India. So for their daily worship, they needed, I think, 10 garlands per day for the daily puja. And so the pujaris had given a contract. So there was this one young girl, very little, she was hardly 11 or 12 years old. She was an orphan and she used to sell garlands outside that temple. And so the priests of the temple had given contract to this girl. You should supply 10 garlands every day to the temple. And so this girl was supplying and was getting paid for that amount. Now, it also happened that this girl was a great devotee of Krishna. And she had this dream that one day I would like to go and garland Krishna myself. Now we know in most of our Hindu temples, all the devotees, we can't go and directly make an offering. That is why there is a priest there. So whatever things you bring as an offering, we hand it over to the priest, and then the priest offers it on our behalf. We don't generally get a chance to directly go and make an offering ourselves. But this little girl was so devoted to Krishna, she had this hope that one day she will be able to go and garland Krishna herself. So what she did was, while she was being paid only for supplying 10 garlands every day, she, in that packet, she would add an extra garland, 11 garlands, as her offering, as her personal offering to Krishna. And her hope was that one day these priests will notice there is an extra garland, and then they will ask, why are you giving an extra garland? And then she will tell them, I have this great desire to go and garland Krishna myself. So will you please give me a chance to do so? And she was hoping that they will give her a chance. Now, unfortunately, these priests did not even notice that there was an extra garland. And so days passed, and nobody noticed it. And she felt so sad that her offering was going unnoticed. And she thought she will never get a chance to then garland Krishna herself. So one day she was feeling so sad. So she went inside the temple, and standing in the hall, in the back, in the corner, the hall was really filled with devotees. So she sat behind and was crying and praying to the Lord, saying, Krishna, see, these people are human beings after all. They have not seen that I am sending this extra garland. They do not know what is the desire of my heart. But you are the creator of this entire universe. You know what is going on in our hearts, in our minds. You know how much I want to come and garland you myself. Why can't you arrange it for me? Nothing is impossible for you. Why didn't you notice that I'm sending you this extra garland for all these years? And while she was crying like this, her heart filled with devotion, filled with bhakti, suddenly she heard the voice of Krishna. And then Krishna said, of course I've noticed you have given an extra garland. Of course I know you want to garland me. She was startled to hear Krishna speak. And then she discovered, well, she is the only one hearing it, because all these other people in the room, nobody could hear it. Only she was hearing it. And so then she said to Krishna, if you know that I want to garland you myself, why don't you arrange for it? Why didn't you tell these priests my desire? And then Krishna said, no, that is beyond me. Unfortunately, I can't do that. And she was furious. She said, you are the Lord of the whole universe. Nothing is impossible for you. You can do it. And then he said, no, I'm not so free here inside this temple, because these priests decide when I should get up, when I should have my food, when I will meet with devotees, when I will go to sleep. Everything is decided by the temple management and these priests. I have no freedom. And this little girl says, what kind of a God you are? You have no freedom? You are the one who give us freedom. If you are not free yourself, how can you make us free? And then Krishna said, do one thing. You come at night. After the temple is closed, that time you come. That time you will be able to come and garland me yourself. And then she said, well, at night the temple will be closed. It will be locked. How can I get in? And Krishna said, don't leave that to me. I can arrange for it. And though she was very happy, then she went home that day, prepared a special garland with fresh flowers filled with lotuses and so on. And then all the puja material she brought chandanam, sandal paste, and incense and everything. And because it was night and it was very olden days, no electricity that time. So in one hand, she had this lamp. Remember in India, we have this, I think sometimes they call this hurricane lanterns, kind of diya. So in one hand, she was holding this lamp. Other hand is the basket filled with all puja items. And she came. The temple was dark. Everybody had gone home. There was nobody there. And magically, as soon as she came to the door opened. And she was able to go inside. And then the door to the Garbha Mandira, the sanctum, opened. And she was able to go. And she was so happy. And she said, oh, now I can do whatever I wanted. I can garland, I can do puja, I can do everything. And then she was about to do it when Krishna said, no, wait a minute. This is probably not the safe place to do it, because others in the village now, they will see the light here and they will think some thieves have come. So better, I will come to your home. You take me to your home and then you can worship me. And then she said, how will you know? She said, you just lead the way, I will follow you. And so then she picked up her lamp and picked up her puja things, and she came out of the temple and Krishna started following her. And her little cottage, like a small little hut actually, was at the very edge of the village. And so she took him there. And so he said, now close the door, close the windows. And he said, now you can worship me as much as you want. But before she was about to start, Krishna said, oh, one other thing. See, the temple opens at 5 o'clock in the morning. And all these pujaris will come there by that time. Now, I should be back before that time. If they go in the morning and find no, I am missing, there's going to be a big problem. So just keep an eye on the clock, so that, because when I'm with devotees, I forget time. So you please make sure that I'm able to go back to the temple before 5 in the morning. And then she said, okay, I'll try. And then she washed Krishna's feet. She applied chandanam there, and she did worship with flowers, with incense. She garlanded him. She had prepared special dishes, payasam, rabdi, and all butter, all very favorite things of Krishna she had made. And Krishna ate them all. And then she was a beautiful singer as well. So she sang some beautiful bhajans for Krishna. And she was so happy, they both forgot the time. And suddenly, she heard this big knock on the door. Open the door, open the door. And she was afraid. There were these pujaris from the temple had come and were knocking at the door. So she got afraid. So she told Krishna, you open the door. And Krishna said, no, it is your home. You have to open the door. I'm not going to open it. And so then she goes and opens the door. And suddenly these pujaris come in. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? You have brought him here. And then she, in the meantime, Krishna, who had walked all the way from the temple to her home, he has again become the murti and he's lying on the bed there. And then she said, and then the pujaris saw that. They said, here is this murti she has stolen from the temple. And this little girl said, no, I've not stolen him. In fact, he called me. He told me to come there in the evening. And then he himself said he wants to come to my home. And then I brought him here. He walked all the way. And then they said, what? Who will believe this fairy tale that Krishna himself walked to your home? And he said, we are worshipping here for so many years. He has not even looked at us, not even said one word to us. And he has done all these things to you. He said, my father did puja here, my grandfather, they have been doing for generations. Not single one of them Krishna spoke. And now you want us to believe that Krishna not only spoke with you, he walked with you, he came to your home, he talked and he did all this. Then why is he not talking now? How is this simply murti lying here? And then she again looked at Krishna and said, now tell them that you came. Krishna didn't say anything, just a murti. And then, of course, it was getting late for the temple. So the pujaris quickly picked up the murti and left, because they had to go and install it in the temple and start the puja again. And they wanted to keep it a secret. Otherwise, the whole place would be a scandal. The murti is stolen. So nobody came to know this whole drama had occurred at the night. That head pujari, he was a very wise man. He somehow realized that the murti was pretty big and heavy. This little girl could not have carried it. He knew very well. The reason they had come to know that the murti was in this place, because it was a rainy season and the ground was wet. So they had seen these two sets of footprints going out of the building. That's how they came to know where to find the Krishna murti. But so that head priest, he thought, no, this girl could not have lifted that murti. So it is possible that Krishna actually did, in fact, give her darshan and came here on his own. So then he told this little girl, now, I want you to leave this place and go away, and not to show your face anytime. Because if you stay here, we have to complain to the police, and the police will catch you, you'll go to jail. If you don't want to go to jail, leave this place and go. He threatened her like that. And of course, the poor little girl got afraid. She packed her little belongings and she left and never came back again. Now, so the people, when they came afterwards, after the temple opened, none of them knew all this drama had occurred. So that afternoon, these pujari and all the priests and the temple management, they came and had a meeting. Now they said, this is a problem, because it seems that that girl was telling the truth. Krishna did, in fact, had this great compassion for the devotees, and he left. Now, they said the problem is this. Luckily, this girl was staying so nearby. And so we were able to find Krishna when he went there. Now, what if tomorrow some another devotee comes from a far off place? Maybe somebody comes from San Antonio in Texas and then starts praying to Krishna. And Krishna goes so far away. Then where are we going to find him? It will be impossible to find him. So we must do something so that Krishna will not run away like this from the mandir. And so then they came up with this idea. Let us put a curtain in front of Krishna's vigraha. So if the curtain is put, Krishna cannot see any devotee. There will be just a curtain in the middle. Then a lot of devotees will gather in front. Then we'll open the curtain for a short time. And that is the time devotees can pray, they can chant, they can sing, whatever they want. But as soon as Krishna tries to focus on any one particular devotee and tries to listen to what they are saying, we close the thing again. So that otherwise, because Krishna is so compassionate, so loving, if anybody prays with a sincere heart, Krishna will immediately go there. And so that is how that tradition started. And that's why it is called in Hindi, where they call it Jhanki Darshan. Jhanki means a peeping. And Darshan means seeing. So it's like you cannot see the Murti, the Vigraha of Krishna continuously. You just kind of see it and then it's covered. See it and it's covered. So it's fascinating. So if you have not seen that temple, I strongly recommend that when you visit India next time and happen to go, Vrindavan is not too far from Delhi. If you go there, do visit this beautiful place, such filled with Krishna's energy. There are so many places connected with the childhood stories of Krishna's life. And then when you go to this Bake Bihari temple, you will see this amazing, amazing stories filled. Many great saints have gone to that temple. Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa is a guru of Swami Vivekananda. When he went to the temple, he was so overcome. He saw the living presence of Krishna there. He just wanted to go and hold Krishna in his arms. So Krishna is very living there. And all the prayers there are very quickly answered. That is what devotees believe. And so people go there in large numbers throughout the year. So we might ask, what is this practice of Jhanki Darshan, this tradition of closing and opening of the Vigraha? What does it teach us? So there are several things we learn from this story. First thing we learn is that God is our very own. That when you go to a mandir, do not think that you are standing only before a murti. It's not murti. It's a living presence of God. Now, if my own heart has not become pure, if my own heart is filled with all worldliness, if my life is filled with compromises, if there is a lot of anger, hatred, jealousy in my heart, if I don't hold on to the value of truthfulness, honesty, unselfishness, then I'm only going to see a murti. But the more I try to be honest, truthful, loving, helpful, the more I do that, it produces what is called chitta shuddhi, purification of the heart. And when the heart becomes pure, in place of the murti, we will see living presence of God. You stand before the murti of Venkateshwara, you will see a living Venkateshwara. You start before the murti of Hanuman, you will see a living Hanuman. There is a temple in Calcutta called the Dakshineshwar temple. That was the temple where Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa worshipped. It is the temple of the Divine Mother Kali. And that is where, when Ramakrishna worshipped Kali, he actually saw the living Kali there. So whenever we look at these murtis, we have to remember that it is the living presence of God. So that is the first thing we see. The second thing we learn from this story is that if we pray sincerely from the bottom of our heart, God answers our prayers. God is our closest friend. Many of you may have heard of this very well-known shloka. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva. That you are my father, you are my mother, you are my friend, you are my all in all, you are my everything. That is what a devotee of God should feel. So next time, whenever you visit the temple, do not think that you're standing before a murti, or standing before an image, or standing before a picture. You're standing before the living God. And that living presence of God will answer your prayers, will speak to you, will come with you to your home. That's how even the little family shrine that you have in your home can become a living presence. Even the little smaller murtis, of course, in a mandir we'll have big murtis, but the smaller murtis you have in your home, even they will become living. But in order to do that, we have to live according to dharma. We have to be kind. We have to be such that we live true to being what our Hindu Shastras have said. Looking at us, you see, all those who are Hindus have to recognize that being a good Hindu, being a good, honest, loving, kind, unselfish person will not only do you good, not only will benefit you and your family, but will benefit your Hindu dharma as well. Because if you cheat, or if you are not good, if you hurt other people, and if people know that you go regularly to the temple, and then other people will say, oh, this is how Hindus are. This is what Hindu people are. So if I'm not good, I'm hurting myself, but I also am bringing bad name to my dharma. So if we want people to respect us, to respect our families, and also to respect our tradition, respect the Hindu dharma, then we have to try to become ideal Hindus. Now, bringing the Lord home, now which is our home? Clearly, the home where you live with your family, your children, that is your home. But there is another home where also God is living. And all over in our Shastras, in the Gita, it is said, Riddeshe Arjuna, in Riddeshe, Riddesha means in the space of the heart. So that God dwells in the hearts of all beings. So just as there is this big temple, which is also a home of God, there is a small little shrine that you have at home, which is also another home of God. There is another home of God, that is our own heart. That is where we are carrying God all the time. And now it is in there, once we are able to feel the presence of God, not only inside a temple, not only inside your home, but inside your heart. Once you do that, then it becomes easier to see that God is present everywhere, that God is present in the hearts of every person that you meet. That when you're standing before any person, you're not only seeing a human being, you say, just as God is present in my heart, God is present in your heart also. So when we do namaskaram, when we say namaste, when we folded hands, we greet each other, we're not just greeting another human being. That namaskaram is to the God present in the heart of the person in front of me. So the more we are able to remember God present in my heart, the easier it becomes to remember God present in the hearts of everyone. And we know that when we try to meditate, when we try to look or try to think or try to visualize God in our heart, sometimes we just see darkness. We see darkness because, just like the temple, the curtain is closed. And oftentimes that curtain may seem to remain closed for a long time. But those who have practiced meditation sincerely, the way that their guru has taught them, doing japa, mantra japa, repeating the mantra, saying their prayers, doing the parayanam, singing devotional songs. So through prayer, through meditation, sometime you'll find the inner curtain has opened a little bit. Then you get a glimpse. It may be a very tiny glimpse of the divine in the heart. But then again, the curtain closes. And then we don't know again when the curtain will open. But without getting discouraged, if we continue to pray, if we continue to meditate, then again, once again, the curtain will open and it will close. And this kind of an inside Jhanki Darshan, just like that was happening in the temple, it will continue to happen in our own hearts. With our daily practice of prayer and meditation, the curtain will sometimes open, it will sometimes remain closed. But if I now continue doing that with faith, with shraddha, with devotion, with sincerity, with regularity, if I do that day after day after day, we will find the curtain will remain open for a longer time. It will close for a shorter time. And then when we become enlightened, when we realize God, then God will give full darshan. The curtain will be removed forever. Then we'll have the constant, unfailing presence of God in the heart. Now that is the goal of going to a temple. So all of you who are associated with this temple in San Antonio, every time you go to temple, try to remember this story of Banke Bihari, or what message it has for us, what the goal of going to a temple is, how it can transform our life, how it can help not only ourselves, but our family, our friends, our community, our religion. It can do, it's almost magical. But in order to do this, we have to live according to dharma. We cannot say, oh, I'm going to the temple regularly, and afterwards then I just become practical and then start telling lies and cheating and doing all dishonest things. That is, I will never see God that way. I'll never be able to bring God home that way. I will never become enlightened that way. We cannot cheat God. We can sometimes deceive other people. We can never deceive God. So bringing God home means first trying to see that in the temple, we are not simply worshipping murtis or vigrahas. We are worshipping the divine being who is living, who is present, who is always there. To bring that divine presence from the temple, where we may not be able to go every day because of distances or other work, we bring that divine presence in our own home. So in our own little shrine, inside our room, maybe in every room of the house, then we'll have in presence of God all the time. And from there, next to bring it inside our own heart. That is what will make our life fully blessed. So I will now stop with the prayer that through the infinite grace of the divine being, who manifests in so many different forms, in so many different ways, may that divine come from the temple inside our own heart. Oh,
Thank you very much, Swamiji. I am really grateful to you for a wonder and splendid discourse, bringing God home. And I'm sorry, there was the resonance going on. So, bringing God home, you made it amply clear that it's very important for us to, follow certain practices and which are innate, have to be innate in our behavioral pattern when we go to the Lord. That's how we will see the Lord. And I will have our chairman-elect, who is going to be the chair, taking over as chairman, Mr. Dr. Madharavji. He will be giving the vote of thanks. Now, before I do that, I was very happy to see Swami Vireshwaranandaji's picture just behind you.
Yeah,
He is our Gurudev, and
he's
my whole family has been initiated by him.
Oh, very good. He's my Gurudev.
And my son is named after him.
Oh, very good.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. And I'm eternally grateful to you for really sparing your very precious time. And so I'm handing over to. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. We're opening the forum for question. Anybody who wants to, go ahead and ask any question are most welcome. Please go ahead and ask questions. We don't have much time. And after that, our Dr. Madharavji will be giving vote of thanks.
One second.
Pranam, Swamiji.
Everybody mute.
I'm pumped.
Everybody else should mute. Only the
question to
person who is
ask.
asking question, please, activate their speaker. Rest everybody mute. And the other one who wants to ask the question, please go ahead after that.
Pranam Swamiji, this is Pankaj. It was a beautiful talk. Just would like to ask you to enlighten us a little bit more. You talked about Chitta Shuddhi. So what are the steps to take to reach this goal of Chitta Shuddhi?
Now, the best way for Chitta Shuddhi is to do all work in the spirit of yoga. And that's what the teaching of yoga, that is what the teaching of is. Swami Vivekananda, I strongly recommend reading Swami Vivekananda's book called Karma Yoga. And it teaches us how I can carry out duties and responsibilities in a way that will glorify my heart. So Chitta Shuddhi can be got by doing work in the spirit of Karma Yoga. No, I can't hear you, Rajinder ji. No, your audio is not working. Rajinder ji, switch on your audio.
I unmuted.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anybody who is asking question, I have unmuted everybody. I think that's close. So I think people may not be able to ask questions because of certain reasons, and I'm just handing over my phone to Dr. Madharavji. Madharavji, please go ahead and vote of thanks. Swamiji will see you tomorrow, and my pranam to you. Namaskar. And may Gurudev bless me, and you please bless us. Thank you.
Namaskar.
Swamiji, namaskar. Thank you for a wonderful discourse, and you have explained what, as a devotee, what we should do once you visit the temple. And you told us that the the conversation you are supposed to have with God. That I like it so much. And you have given us, all of us, a message that when you visit temple, what is the devotee's role and what we should do, what we should take with us when we go home. Your message of taking God home, not only the home where you reside, also the home in your heart. That is the most important point. I really, you touched my heart, and I take your lesson to my heart. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful message to all of us. And by giving this story of Krishna going to devotee's house as a story, this is going to be, it will be so attractive to all the youth in our city or wherever they are. That God talks to you if you really pray with your full bhakti. That's what you brought out by this simple story, and that shows us the importance of storytelling. And I really, from my bottom of hearts, I thank you so much for this wonderful message and to take home. Thank you, Swamiji. We'll see you
Tomorrow.
So to all the devotees who are joined today, our tomorrow's discourse by Swamiji is worship as seva. And today, Swami told us to take God home. Now he is going to tell tomorrow about how to do worship as seva. Thank you so much. And thanks to all the devotees who have joined us today in our 32nd anniversary celebrations. We will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow again at in the morning discourse at 10:15, and we will see you again online for other occasion, other festivities. Thank you very much. Hari Om.